leaders is exactly what's wrong with the world right now. Exactly what's wrong with the world right now. Do not sacrifice yourselves for your so-called leaders. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Though, and one of the reasons that I think people like Roger and NPR and we are interested in the missing documents is because on the face of the one FBI interview memo that we do have, that allegation against Donald Trump is not included therein. At one point during that interview, the woman tells her account to the FBI agents of how she comes to understand that a man she knew only as Jeff in the 1980s, for whom she was supposed to babysit, only to discover that there was no wife or children in the house, how she came to learn that that man was Jeffrey Epstein. She says it's because someone that she confided in at the time sends her a text message with a photograph of Jeffrey Epstein. And then she asks the FBI agents whether she can crop that photo because somebody else is pictured in it, and she doesn't want to incriminate that person, nor does she want to do anything that would expose her to retaliation, as her then lawyer explains.
The Pupusama and Matt chat on Twitch is epic.
That's when the FBI agents document that the other person in the
thank you, Jay Vegas.
is Donald Trump.
Kia ora, by the way. Kia ora, kia ora. Tēnā koe.
They ask her, have you ever met that person? And she acknowledges that she has, but does not further elaborate. Other than that, however, there is nothing about Donald Trump on the face of that 2019 interview with the woman. But we do know from an index of witness statements that is also in these files that she spoke to the FBI on 3 other occasions. In all 4 interviews, the handwritten notes taken by an FBI agent who was present has not been shared with the public. And each of those 3 successive FBI interviews that follow the first one, those also aren't present. And the department's explanation today, I think, defies credulity in some ways. First of all, nobody is asserting that the documents were deleted. The allegation, I would say, or rather the implication of what we're seeing in the files is that they were never produced in the first place. And the question is why? Because...
Let me clarify my stance. And this, I believe, this I believe true in every single case. Okay? If you advocate for structural violence for one, in the name of freeing yourself from structural violence, then you are recreating oppression. Either you fight against all structural violence, or you are the same as the oppressors you hate. And that applies to everybody. Okay?
They are right to say there are certain cognizable reasons why you would withhold documents. One of them is for victim privacy and safety, and yet we also know that they've produced one such interview memo already with heavy redactions. That option was certainly available to them. They also claim that they are withholding certain documents on the basis of privilege. Privilege is not a basis that was recognized by the Epstein Files Transparency Act as any reason why the Department of Justice was entitled to hold things back. But even if it were, Claire knows as a former prosecutor, Andrew certainly knows that when we're talking about a document that reflects a conversation between the FBI or Department of Justice officials on one side of the table and a witness on the other, there is nothing in that back and forth that could be remotely attorney-client privileged. And it's not even clear that it could qualify
exactly,
for what the department calls deliberative process privilege, particularly when they have produced so many other memoranda of witness interviews. It just doesn't hold up. And so I think it's important that we continue to hold the department to account and ask them, why aren't these other 3 interview memos in the files? Where are the notes? And we should also look at the indexes that they've provided for other witness statements. There are more than 540 witnesses whose statements they produced to Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers in the lead up to her criminal trial. It may be that for many of those witnesses as well, including people that we consider to be critical to the Epstein saga, there are also missing memoranda and notes. There's also a separate index for those people who were expected to testify at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. I can tell you from looking at them, while we have, for example, there's one witness who testified in Ghislaine's trial as Jane. She has a Trump accusation of her own. It's not that Trump sexually assaulted her, but it's that when she was 14 years old, she was brought to Mar-a-Lago by Jeffrey Epstein to meet Donald Trump. And she has never wavered in that. She said that to the FBI consistently. People close to her and other interview memoranda have said that. And she testified to that at trial. And yet, the handwritten notes that underlay her interview memoranda, those are missing as well.
Okay, so that's the missing piece. Let me deal with the human story that's being told. So a child, a 13 or 14-year-old, was or allegedly reported this hideous sexual assault followed
2014, yeah.
and accuses Donald Trump.
But we don't know where she did that or how she did that, because the only document that tells us that she made that accusation is a 2025 spreadsheet and an accompanying presentation that the FBI put together when they were theoretically sort of getting their minds around the fact that they might have to produce.
Who thinks that was actually her that testified? Me.
Files in response either to a subpoena or to some act of Congress. But the underlying document memorializing her making that accusation, which I imagine would be an accusation longer than 2 or 3 lines, which appear in the spreadsheet that we have from the FBI or their presentation, we don't know where that is. When did this woman say that? We know it's the same one.
After all of the files released, after everything we know now, if you still don't believe the victims, then, bro, like, I'm sorry, man. You need, like, a bath in holy water or something, you know?
Woman, but we don't know when she said it, to whom she said it, who was in the room, and how she detailed it. Those are mysteries that the American public deserves answers to, Nicole.
And